Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome here to New Hampshire for the Cheerwine 151 at the ButtKicker Cups, or Cup and Super Cup Series here in the ISCA Racing League. Definitely excited to be here tonight. As you can see, 151 laps going to be on the docket here for tonight's race here. Uh, Tricky track as always. New Hampshire, definitely one of those toughies. Definitely have to treat that throttle like you got an egg underneath it to make sure you don't crack it, because you will spin out on the exit of these corners. So it's, a lot of guys like to run a little bit higher on the racetrack. Some guys been running really low, so definitely curious to see how all this is going to work out for sure. Tire wear probably going to be a big deal. I know me and my broadcast partner, Big Al, we're talking about it a little bit before the race. This is a very, very flat track with, I do believe, hardly any banking. Speaking of Big Al, how are you doing this evening?
Hey, doing pretty good, Brian. And once again, excited to be here in Loudon, New Hampshire for what definitely should prove to be quite a spectacle, man. You know, we got almost a full field here tonight with this ISCA Thursday Super Cup, Butt Kicker Cup. And I think it's going to prove to be just a little bit of a battle of wits and patience. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think wits and patience is pretty much you're hitting the nail right on the head. Just considering how hard it is to make passes here, especially late in the run. Once the tires are worn out, running on you could definitely get some good runs on the bottom, but it's going to be very difficult to keep the momentum on the exit when that guy above you. Side by side racing here definitely slows you down quite a bit, and I think we're going to see a lot of tire wear. Curious to see how that is all going to play out, but I know we got many different competitors out here tonight going to be tackling this difficult racetrack, and definitely has a lot of short track tendencies. I would classify it as a short track. Uh, Also, it has a lot of speed too. I mean, these straightaways, these guys get up to quite a high speed. Big Al.
Yeah, and the one thing I think this track does lend itself to be more on the short track side, just because of the fact that these guys the majority of the drivers will be running that fourth gear setup here tonight. You know, even though this track just weighs in at just a little bit over a mile, it's a flat track, Brian, and it's going to be hard on tires, and it is extremely hard to pass. So I think if drivers pack their patience and they actually come with the right mindset to be in it for the long haul, I think that's where we're going to actually see those guys flourish. Now, this thing's broken up into two different stages, and the first two stages are going to be around 30 laps, and those are really going to be short runs there because this is set for 151 laps here. Stages at 30-65, and the last one is going to be 151. Five tire sets, including the one that's on the car. Fuel one is going to be about 66 laps, so that's going to give us our best chance to see those green flag pit stops in that long run there in that third stage, Brian. So the key is going to be if drivers can actually be available for that.
100%. Definitely going to be a long run here. That surprised it. These guys don't have a longer run than that. Usually, it kind of tracks like this, you can kind of make it a lot longer of a distance. Of course, we do have a 75% fuel tank, so that's going to change it quite a bit. But looking at the ButtKicker Cup Series standings here, we got Jeffrey Souza up in the points lead with one win. Matt DeCiani, he's in second place with one win. Clayton Hoffman also has one win. He's in third. Carl Dodson, the first man, I do believe, without a win here, up in fourth place in the points. Danilo Coelho is in fifth place in the points. Sixth place, Josh Schaffner. Seventh place, Chris Johnson. Eighth place, Jason Baker. Ninth place, J.C. Nobrega. 10th place, Thomas O'Hara. And looking a little bit further down the standings here for this Cup Series points here, Austin Story, he's in 11th place. Mark Pageant in 12th. 13th, Joey Preby. 14th, Brian Johnson. 15th, Kenny Powell. 16th, Lucas Abreu. 17th, Wayne Grassi on the outside looking in there for the points. And of course, next up would be our Super Cup Series standings here, which actually cover the entire kind of NASCAR season. Clayton Hoffman right now finds himself at the top of the board here for this particular standings here. He has 5 wins. That's more than everybody does. Jeffrey Souza has 3 wins. He's in second place. Matt DeCiani's in third with 2 wins. Josh Schaffner with 2 wins in fourth. Mark Pageant also has 2 wins. He's in fifth. Now Kozlowski has gotten a win. He's right now sitting sixth in the points. Seventh place, Chris Johnson with a win. Jason Baker, of course, earlier we saw him get his first win just a few short weeks ago in eighth place. Wayne Grassi, ninth place, was really dominant there at Atlanta. Unfortunately, did not find himself in victory lane. He's sitting in ninth. 10th place, Greg Wachinski. A little bit further down the running order, Kenny Powell. He's got 2 top fives. course, he did win on last Saturday at the Atlanta race, but has not won on Thursday, I do believe, this season quite yet. 12th place, Mark Sanchez. 13th, Paul Olson. 14th, Randy Drumhiller. 15th, Robert Pattengale. 16th, Andrew Griesbaum. And 17th, Andrew Layton on the outside looking in 17th place.
Yeah, it's going to definitely start to be those points are going to start to be at a premium here as we get this season almost over here. At least we're pretty far into it now. Not so much for the Super Cup Series, but drivers are definitely going to want to be taking advantage of those stage breaks because that's the opportunity to gain those valuable points. You only get to do that at stages 1, 2, and then where you end up at the end of the race. So if you're not inside that top 10 in those first 2 stages, Brian, yeah, you don't get anything.
Yeah, that's 100% fact right there. And I think a 30 lap run's not too bad. I don't know if that's really good enough to give you all the necessary tire data you need, though, because I know some guys I was kind of talking to a little bit before the race, and they were talking about how their setups are kind of handling, the 30 plus lap run. That's when the setup really the tires start to misbehave a little bit. So I don't know if that's enough really data. These guys are going to, probably going to need a lot more. So I would not be surprised to see these guys pushing it a little extra hard just to get a little bit of more wear out of that car. But let's go ahead and take a step away and play the national anthem. We will be right back with some racing here with the Cheerwine 151.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright
out of two because there's some grass and a little bit of leeway there that you can run off and maybe try to catch that car. But here we go. The pace car soon to be dipping down pit road as JC Nobrega going to be leading the field to green here as we enter the Geico restart zone.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if Nobrega is going to wait and he's going to get the field stacked up here in that. And there we go. looks like that 92 car, Clayton Hoffman's going to get a solid start on the outside as Nabrega's going to be trying to defend that inside. Hoffman's going to get the run, though. It looks like he's going to go ahead and run away with this and get in the lead there, Brian, as we get ready to get the first lap in the books here.
I mean, I think he just straight up sent it. I'm surprised he made that. I mean, how fast was he going there? JC Nobrega definitely, I think, might have was a little bit sleeping there on that restart.
Yeah, Nabrega's putting down some blistering times in practice, though, so I don't think we should count him out just yet. But, you know, Clayton Hoffman, he is going to definitely prove to be the car to beat there. As he's definitely going to want to try to keep that 92 car out front. He will be getting a lead here, but we are still 2 by 2 through the field here as we get ready to put the second lap in the books.
Yeah, we right now see, I do believe, Mark Sanchez side by side, I do believe, with the 22. So definitely some battling going on. That is Danilo Coelho, and also behind them you see Matt DeCiani trying to battle here with Mark Pageant. Josh Schaffner is also side by side with his teammate there, 9th and 10th, Greg Wachinski.
Yeah, Matt DeCiani definitely is going to be battling up as he's be coming up on the inside of Daniel Coelho. The rabbit there, Danny, is what he's called himself, and he is definitely proving that as he's going to be trying to keep DeCiani at bay. Now, the thing about it is you want to be able to get that car down real low and slow there when you're going through those turns because it will have the propensity to kind of drift up on you.
Yeah, that it will, but it looks like DeCiani is going to be able to get clear of the 22 here, works his way up into 6th place here. DeCiani was one of the fastest in practice, so would not be surprised to see him work further up the field. What a great qualifying effort there from Mark Sanchez. He's looking pretty strong right now in that 31. Yellow flag is out.
Caution is out on the speedway for the first time tonight as we will be trying to figure out what exactly indeed happened. Did see a car sideways sitting back there. It looks like he is going to take a tow.
And that was the 95 of Joseph Lester. Of course, his car says the 54, but of course he is a 95, and he just sends it. And I do believe Chris Johnson might have helped him out.
Yeah, it looks like he is going to have some serious damage on the back end of that car. I think that was the reason why he took the tow, realizing that that car wasn't really going to go anywhere. And that is really not going to be good for Joseph Lester, as that's probably going to dash any hopes and chances that he had of actually trying to win this thing tonight. But once again, like we said, Brian, you got to be available. Now, and the crew chief's going to be telling the drivers, it's still way early on in this thing. You've got to make smart decisions because you've got to put yourself in a position to win this thing. Joseph Lester just put himself in a position to tank this thing, and that's just not what you want to see here this early on in this event.
Yeah, he just put himself in a position to be last on the on the grid here. Unfortunate there for him. I mean, looking back at that accident winner, he really sent it in, and he did get clear of Chris Johnson. But in the middle of the corner, you can see he got really loose. Johnson didn't really even help spin him out. I mean, it was just really, he got really loose, and Johnson really had nowhere to go.
Yeah, that's not going to be good for Lester, but, he's a competitive guy. He's here every week. Might not be his week this week, but, best thing he can do is just try to hope to regroup. I know there's going to be a lot of damage that they've got to repair on that car. Hopefully he'll be able to actually get it off the jacks and back onto the racetrack as we are getting ready to double it up here. Nope, we're still single file. Lights are still on the pace car. But that's not what anybody wanted to see, because these drivers are really, in my opinion, dependent on that first stage in order to get that very valuable fuel and tire data. Now, you said that the fuel run, I believe, was 66 laps on the 75% tank.
Yeah, I do believe that is what our metrics say here. So hopefully that is accurate. Of course, pace car lights are out now. But, man, I just don't know why you would want to risk it like that so early in this race. I mean, it's just so early. I'd rather be available. You always kind of say it. You have to be available. And, that is just going to be huge there. Hopefully, maybe he's going to be acting as a cautionary tale for the rest of these drivers out here to not do what he just did.
Well, I was surprised that it actually took that long, because I remember when we were here last season in the Gen 6 cars. I mean, we were wrecking on lap 1. So kudos to these guys for at least making it to lap 5 or so before we actually balled it up. Lights are off on the caution car, the pace car. He will be ducking back down here this time by. Going to get this field lined up and ready to go again. Clayton Hoffman will be at the helm. We'll see just how he starts off versus Lucas Abreu. JC Nebrega. Clayton Hoffman wasting no time. He definitely got the wheels turning on that 92. Got a great jump. JC Nebrega is actually going to be battling it on his position as he has the 42 on the inside of Carl Dobson's to be trying to go for that position, Brian.
Yeah, I think JC should have did exactly what Clayton Hoffman did on that first initial start, but apparently he just didn't get the memo. Now he is able to get clear here of Carl Dodson. Now Dodson's going to be under fire from Lucas Abreu. So we'll see what Abreu can do here on the top line, but it does not look like it's going to be able to work as Dodson is able to get clear single file in the top 5.
Yeah, Bray is definitely going to be trying to get up to the front because he knows he has a fast car. He was actually putting the fastest lap times down in practice, so we do know what that car is capable of. But here we are, drivers are starting to get it settled out. We just have a couple of drivers that are still side by side. And as these guys do fan out here, as we get around this mile .03 racetrack, I think we're going to see a lot of single file racing here tonight. This is just a place that's not easy to pass at, Brian.
Yeah, definitely is not. We're seeing a lot of double file racing right now, though. It looks like Matt DeCiani putting one in underneath Lucas Abreu, trying to find his way up into 4th. We also see Danny the Rabbit, as we say, fighting Josh Schaffner. That is for 9th and 10th place. Kenny Powell sitting there waiting in the wings to see where to go here. Probably going to try to go with his teammate, Josh Schaffner.
Absolutely. There's no, I don't even think, Schaffner gets a little bit loose there going around that turn. So that's definitely got to get Kenny Powell's eyes wide open there as green flag racing continues. The one of Matt DeCiani is still battling right beside Lucas Abreu for position. Those two not really wanting to yield just yet. Looks like Kenny Powell's on the inside of Schaffner. Schaffner's going to be falling back. Kenny Powell now is falling behind the 22 of Danny Coho. He's going to be trying to actually best him as they come around this turn. These two are battling. Looks like Powell's right on the inside. Make a little bit of contact there. That's going to send Abreu. That's going to send the Rabbit up the racetrack just a little bit. Now he is going to be in danger of losing this position for that other G&G teammate of Kenny Powell, which is the 5-0 Josh Schaffner.
Yeah, it looks like the 22 had to really back out of the throttle a little bit there, but he is able to, capitalize and stay in front of Schaffner. But Kenny Powell is able to make that pass up, now up to 9th place. You see Thomas O'Hara, he's right there in 12th. A lot of guys, kind of running in single file. This is one of those tracks, like we say, kind of even at road courses where you run, single file for a long time. You just got to wait for a guy to make a mistake. That's really all you can do. You got to hit your marks. If a guy, this is a track where you have such a high potential to overdrive that race car and find yourself being passed.
Man, it gets so tight, too, once you're trying to bend those corners. So that's another thing you'll have to watch out for. Drivers are going to they're going to try to drive it in, but that car, as those tires wear, it will start to slide up on them as Josh Schaffner makes it by the 22 of Daniel Coho. Thomas O'Hara now going to be coming up on the back end of that 22 cars. He's going to be trying to get closer to that top 10, maybe get himself one of those valuable stage points as well.
Yeah, he definitely is trying to get every bit of the stage points as he can in that 117 machine. And who can blame him? I mean, now's the time to do it. I mean, you don't know unless you try. That's for sure. As the 22 going to be trying to hold him off here. But, now the 22 seems like he's stuck up on the top. He can't seem to get down because of all these guys that are really putting pressure on him. You see Wayne Grassi, he's going to be waiting for his option here. You see back a little bit further, I think John Mullins also trying to make something happen there on Andrew Griesbaum. That is for 14th. And there goes Thomas O'Hara. He's able to get clear and moved up to 11th. Chris Johnson in the picture here, now side by side with John Mullins. A lot of really intense racing going on right now. Surprised to see it. These guys have definitely started out this race not very calm, that's for sure.
Yeah, let's give a shout out though to that Triad Racing Enterprises, man. They have definitely got quite the team here tonight. They got Carl Dobson, who's currently running in third. Also, they got Mark Paget, who's actually being shown in sixth, and also Thomas O'Hara, who is in 11th. So shout out to that team as they seem to have their woes kind of at least sorted out for the first part of this event here, Brian.
Yeah, looking really good right now. Those guys. Hopefully they can. It's all going to be about the long run here, though. I think we'll have to wait and see how that kind of progresses. I think it all depends on how hard you burn those tires up. We kind of mention it every time we're in a broadcast together that the first 5 laps are pretty very very important. The way the rest of the tire run or the run is going to be when it comes to how you treat those tires. So you got to be really careful, and you don't want to burn those rears off because that is something that is very easy to do here at a track like this.
And yeah, and there's going to be a lot of false tells as that first series is only going to be 15 laps, which we're just over halfway through the first stage now. So you're not really going to get the true indicators that you're going to need, especially with that caution being thrown in there. So I think drivers are going to have to come out here and probably run it just as hard for that second stage, hoping that it will go caution free, so they'll actually be able to figure out, because 66 laps on fuel, but you still got to make those tires last.
Yeah, that you do. You definitely do. You got to make those tires last, and that's very hard to do here. Also, the walls come up very quickly, and you definitely don't want to hit those. Everybody doing a great job, yeah.
Yes, Wayne Grassi is definitely trying to get on that inside to gain position on Daniel Coho of the 22. Those two are going to be battling side by side coming out of the corner. Coho having just enough to actually maintain as they get ready to enter into turn one. This is going to be key for Grassi. He has to be able to drive that car in there, make it stick on the bottom line. So far, so good. Looks like he's actually going to be able to make it stick. Coho's going to be running around the outside. Grassi's got to get enough momentum in front of him so he can actually close that door and complete the pass.
Yeah, this is definitely a track where you see a lot of guys maybe throwing the slide job in on, and I think that's what Grassi's trying to do. He's just trying to at least get clear so he can slide up in front of him. That way, 22 would have to check up or try a crossover maneuver. Go ahead.
But in the meanwhile, they got Chris D. Johnson is going to be bringing up the rear. He is going to be waiting on either one of those two to make a mistake so he can actually make advantage of it. The 6'4" John Mullins gets a little tight there coming out of turn 3. Struggling a little bit. Looks like he is going to be trying to battle to keep his position.
Yeah, I do believe we see the 23 on our screen, but I think that's actually the 19. So a little bit of confusion here when it comes to the numbers. But we'll try to keep track of it as best as we can. So Austin Story trying to work his way around on the high side is almost there goes John Mullins.
Mullins
What a save!
Through it though. What a save indeed. Is that 19 car? That's Austin Story right there? I think we're seeing. But wow, what a save there for John Mullins, man. Kudos to him.
Further up front here, we're seeing a change in position for third place. Matt DeCiani able to get around Carl Dodson. Looks like Dodson just kind of let him go. Dodson having a little bit of a blinking issue there.
Yeah, that 48 of Christy Johnson, now he is pulled up alongside of Wayne Grassi, as now him, Daniel Coho, and Grassi are going to be battling what looks like is going to be for that 12th place position once it's all said and done. But these three seem to be at a little bit of a stalemate here, though, Brian. Just no one actually able to best the other two. So that battle is just going to continue.
Yeah, you see that Austin Story there on the bottom trying to make something happen against Griesbaum, just not able to do so. And we're at that point where I think the tires are starting to wear. Looking at lap times, these guys have already lost about 7/10. And that's definitely a lot to lose at a track like this. But I think later in this race, we're going to see it be even worse than that.
Yeah, absolutely. As Clayton Hoffman is still putting on quite the performance. He has built his lead up to be almost 1.4 seconds over second place JC Nebrega. And also, if Derek Jacobs looks in his rear view mirror, he is going to see that 92 of Clayton Hoffman breathing down his neck with 5 to go in this stage. He could possibly be a risk at following a lap down, but the kudos for him is if he does get captured or caught, he'll actually be the recipient of that lucky dog there once this stage does end.
Yeah, Derek Jacobs definitely is in the danger zone. Paul Olson will be next in line. Those guys have lost a lot of pace, and that's one thing about this track too. We talked about how hard it is to pass. Well, so a lot of times you just kind of have to resign yourself to sit behind people, or if you are slow, you're going to find yourself going a lap down very quickly.
Yeah, I think a lot of guys are starting to figure out their handling woes though, because we are now looks like some 26 laps into this, just 2 laps before the stage actually ends. And I'm going to tell you, Lucas Abreu has his hands full. He's got the O2 of Mark Paget definitely all over his rearview mirror, trying to get around him.
Yeah, I've definitely probably see some wholesale changes for a lot of these drivers here. Seems like some of them are struggling a little bit worse for wear, but I mean that's the whole thing about these stages that makes them so useful. They do get that data. They are able to make those changes. So I think Lucas is probably going to be doing exactly that when we actually do get these cars woed up and down pit road. Of course, like we mentioned earlier, we got 5 sets of tires, 4 sets down in the pits. So I would not be surprised to see, especially when cautions come out at some point later in this race, we might use every single set of those tires. And look at that, the 0-2 underneath the 9, trying to make something happen here.
Yeah, he absolutely has to, because he is running out of time, Brian, as we are literally 2 to go in the stage.
Man, what a job from Mark Sanchez too. He's been looking really strong here tonight in that 31. A little contact with the wall. I guess I shouldn't have talked about him. That's the broadcaster's curse right there.
Yeah, absolutely. This first stage is actually quickly coming to an end here, as it looks like once the 92 makes it around, he will take the white flag. The 27 is going to have to do everything in his power to try to stay from going a lap down, and hopefully he can do that without impeding Clayton Hoffman too much, Brian.
Yeah, he's barely hanging on here as the white flag is out for the stage here. Clayton Hoffman right now has a second lead on JC Nobrega. But it does look like Clayton, I think Derek might stay on the lead lap here. That's going to be good for him. He's probably going to need to go down there, get some fresh set of tires. Maybe a little bit of change in mindset, maybe an adjustment on that race car. Still a lot of close racing, though, as this caution's getting ready to come out. Man, these guys are looking really good out here tonight. I mean, surprised at how clean and green this has been. I mean, I know I was watching a couple officials, and I know I've seen some other guys do some officials, and there is the yellow for the stage. And, man, there are a lot of wrecks in those officials, and these guys are making it look easy out here for sure, as Clayton Hoffman brings home the Stage 1 victory in dominating fashion. And never a surprise when we see Clayton Hoffman, especially at a track so technical like this, to do this well. But,
yep, that's going to put JC Nobrega in second, Matt DeCiani in third, Carl Dobson in fourth, Mark Paget fifth, Lucas Abreu sixth, Mark Sanchez seventh, Kenny Powell eighth, Josh Schaffner ninth, and Thomas O'Hara is going to get that last point there, that last valuable point as we end stage 1. With that, Brian, let's take a brief step back and get a word from our sponsors. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Caution flag pit stops here are underway. Once that has been completed, we will speak to our Stage 1 victor here, Clayton Hoffman. I'm really curious to see how. We do not.
I don't think we got Clayton.
Well, that is just unfortunate. That is just very unfortunate. One thing that's going to be interesting, though, is these guys get off pit road. And it looks like Clayton Hoffman still wins the race off pit road. I was wondering, JC Nobrega has that first position there on pit road. I thought that might be enough to get out in front of Clayton, but barely was not able to get that lead back from him. But I think that's going to be something to keep an eye on as we go on into the next stage. Can JC maybe do a little bit better job on pit road and maybe trying to get out in front of that 92?
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think Clayton is going to relinquish his lead on pit road. But, as this thing does go on, Brian, I think if anybody is going to have a chance of making something happen, it's probably going to be on pit road, preferably during those green flag pit stops. Because you know me, I love my green flag pit stops.
Yeah, I also, love to see these guys have to try to go down pit road. Not an easy pit road to navigate here either. But we'll have to see how that works out if we do get some green flag pit stops. This is definitely a track where the potential of a caution in the middle of that final stage is quite high. But hopefully,
Oh,
I
yeah.
definitely want to see that green flag pit stop.
Yeah, absolutely. As the lights are off on the pace car, that means we are 1 to green. Clayton Hoffman's going to lead this thing. So far, he has led every lap since the green flag has flown. And I don't think he is going to give up that track position, as he was definitely laying down a blistering pace. Now, I don't know if his car has the long end speed, but he is definitely displaying that short end speed that he needs to dominate this thing. His pace car will be dropping down here momentarily. Clayton Hoffman will be leading this field into that Geico restart zone, and we'll be going back to green flag racing, Brian.
Yeah, let's see what his restart looks like here. And there he goes again early. He's just been catching these guys sleeping. You would think with that Geico restart zone, these guys would be able to predict that a little bit better. But no, Clayton is just has a really good fire off there. So we do see some side-by-side racing a little bit further back. Matt DeCiani and the 42 of Carl Dodson side-by-side. But it looks like Dodson is going to get clear.
And it is a disadvantage for the guys in the rear, because once he hits that green flag in that zone, there's some of the guys that are still actually coming through 3 and 4 there. So it's not as easy for those guys to get a good launch. And, you don't want to get wiped out into 1. So I think that has a lot to do with it. But you know what? We are back at it here. And the drivers are jockeying for position as Kenny Powell and the 9 of Lucas Abreu look like they're getting a little bit close there. Josh Schaffner is going to be trying to move in on the inside of Abreu. Abreu was definitely not running as fast as I think he wanted to run there through stage 1. Maybe they made some adjustments, and we'll see if he can actually get that thing rolling again here in stage 2, Brian.
Yeah, and barring we don't have a caution here, this is going to be, what it should have been in stage 1, probably a 30-lap run here. So we should be able to get a little bit better tire data from these drivers here, as Josh Schaffner still on the inside of the 9. Mark Pageant really starting to put some pressure on there. Matt DeCiani getting really close to the back end.
Yeah, Josh Schaffner has definitely got to be wanting to get around Abreu as they make contact going into the turn. That's going to cause both of them to kind of check up a little bit. Greg Wyszynski, though, is going to try to capitalize on that, but unfortunately he has got nowhere to go, Brian.
Yeah, that's the story of this track. I mean, you're going to just have to be patient and wait, because, I mean, even there, you could run the middle groove, you can run the bottom groove. I mean, there's not much more else that you can do here. You got to really just be patient, wait your turn, wait for that guy to make that mistake, wait for him to slip up, as we mentioned before. I mean, you got to drive off these corners. You got to, drive like there's an egg underneath your pedal, and if somebody cracks that egg, that could be an opportunity.
Patience? Nobody got no patience. Yeah, it has been green, though, for the majority of this contest, only having 1 caution thus far, and that is really great because, like you said, in the open races and the NIS races, it's been a little bit of a slugfest, to say the least. But these guys definitely look like they did their homework. Everybody seems to be dialed in just fine, and doesn't seem like we're having any major handling woes, Brian.
No, that is very surprising. These guys definitely have gotten acclimated to this track pretty quickly here. And look at a little bit of the track facts here. Of course, we talked about this being just over a little bit of a mile. Air temp out there right now is 72 degrees, 103 degrees on the track. So that's pretty normal, I'd say, 103. I mean, I've seen a lot of the official sessions, and they've been hovering right around that here. And the mile per hour there with the wind is not too bad either, just about 2 miles per hour coming there from the north.
Yeah, absolutely. As the 22 is now going to be battling side by side with Thomas O'Hara. Thomas O'Hara did get him one of those very valuable stage points there at the end of stage 1. So kudos to him. I always try to give a shout out to everybody as often as we can, especially the guys that are running a little bit further back in the pack. We always talk about the leaders. It's Clayton Hoffman and Carl Dobson. I mean, no slouch there. That's really awesome for the Triad Racing Enterprises guys to actually be able to come out here and have a car running in the two cars in the top 5, right?
Oh yeah, definitely is a good feeling. I'm sure as we see Mark Sanchez also in 11th place trying to challenge for 10th here, side by side with Wayne Grossi.
Yeah, those two are teammates, so I think pretty sure they might be rolling on the same kind of setup, and they're just going to have to figure that one out because the longer they run side by side, it's just going to be a detriment to both of them. As you can see, they've got quite a little bit of a stack up coming behind them as they got the 22 of Daniel Coho again with Chris Johnson and Thomas O'Hara. So looks like the 31 of Sanchez is going to go ahead and get the run on the 7 of Grossi. Grossi probably had one of his strongest performances to date last week, but unfortunately for him, he probably saw that come to a bitter end there as we were at the last couple laps there of the race there at Atlanta last week.
Here comes Jason Baker on the inside of John Mullins. He's trying to work his way up into 17th and looks like he's going to be successful. He was very fast in practice. I'm surprised he's not higher up in the running order here, but he's definitely going to be trying to take that Marine machine closer and closer to the front.
So, Brian, let me ask you a question. As we are now some 44 laps into this, just a fifth, some 20 laps to go before our next stage ends, you think everybody's going to come down the pit road when this next stage ends, or you think a couple guys might short pit it or stay out?
No, I think it's going to be pretty common for everybody to probably go down pit road, take those tires. I mean, as you can see, I mean, tire wear does mean something. I mean, probably not quite as much as we've seen at some other tracks, but it definitely does mean something. And we haven't seen the length of how much that tire wear really is going to mean too, because I mean, we haven't even gotten to the longest run of the race, of course, that final stage. And if you stay out at the conclusion of stage 2, oh, Carl Dodson getting incredibly loose there, but he able to save it. This is going to put him under fire from Matt DeCiani and Mark Pageant. But I don't know if I wouldn't stay out there at the conclusion of stage 2, because I mean, you're going to be coming out there on older tires. You're already going to be probably hitting 31-second laps, while everybody else is going to be hitting 30.3s, 30.4s, and 5s. I just don't think it's worth it.
Yeah, I'd short pit it. I would be coming in on or about lap 62 or 63. I'd go ahead and get my tires and fuel and try to get up front, because track position on this track, I think, is going to be that's going to be what's paramount. Because even if you are faster than the guy in front of you, you're still not going to be able to necessarily get around him.
Oh, well, almost some contact. The 9 getting a little bit tight there into the 24. Looks like the 9 has kind of surged back ahead here. We saw he was struggling. Lucas Abreu was struggling there in the early portions of this stage, but seems like he's gotten a little bit better here as this run has gone on. Right now, side by side for the 6th position.
Yeah, he's going to be fighting those G&G guys because they're right behind him, 1, 2, 3. Sorry about that.
Yeah, he definitely is going to be trying to fight these guys hard. As Kenny Powell gets really close to the back bumper of the 9. This is one of those tracks. Oh, Kenny Powell gets really loose.
Powell's definitely going to go down to the inside. And that's what I was thinking about. You know, Powell being on the outside of that 9. It is not easy when someone else is dictating the line that you're driving. If you have the line that you want to run, you really want to run that line, Brian, because it will shave a couple hundred thousands off your time.
Yeah, definitely will. But you are able to, I guess, get a better run off the exit there. You're definitely going to be a little bit slower in the center of the corner, but you're going to have guys that have setups that are built for either way. But I mean, one thing, this track used to be predominantly more like a top groove racetrack, which is interesting to see how these next gen cars are much different than what we've seen in maybe the Gen 6 or the Xfinity or the truck. So I'm really interested to see, these cars definitely are handling the bottom a lot better. Or Mark Pageant almost gets into Matt DeCiani there as they are fighting hard for that 4th place position.
Speaking of fighting hard, Derek Jacobs once again is going to have the leaders coming into his fray, rearview mirror, and so that's going to make his day that much longer as well. And I think this time they caught him a little bit faster as looks like 14 laps to go here in this stage. He is definitely going to get caught by Clayton Hoffman on this go-around if he didn't the last.
Yeah, he definitely did. He is going to get caught here eventually. Clayton Hoffman looking really quick right now, 30.998. Definitely looks like he's got a very good long run set up. I do believe he's the fastest in the field right now. JC Nobrega, not very much slower, though, 30.999. So only 1,000th different there in their pace that last time by. And it looks like, Clayton a little bit faster that time. But you can see tire wear is starting to mean a whole lot more here in this stage. And I do believe it will last because we had that opportunity with that caution to kind of cool the tires off. So you're definitely seeing, I think, a little bit more of an unknown territory for these drivers right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And as this thing does go on, that is going to be the long pole in the tent because you have to conserve. And I know these guys right now, you only got to run 30 laps or so it's not that big of a deal. But when you double that and then some, because you're going to have to try to push that fuel limit all the way to the end once we get into that third stage in order to make it work. And so far, these guys have been racing clean and green. Now, I was interested to note that a lot of guys that we saw racing up front last week, we haven't actually seen those guys be able to even crack the top 10 this week, so that also goes to show just how difficult and challenging this track could be, as Derek Jacobs has definitely got to be sweating a little bit right now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, anytime I'm on a racetrack and I see Clayton Hoffman coming up behind me, I'm sweating quite hard. But we have seen, Clayton does have, the potential to mess up. We've seen it before. I mean, he's not perfect. That's one thing I think a lot of people don't realize. I mean, of course, none of these drivers are perfect.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he has made mistakes. We've seen it.
Yeah, absolutely. His name's Clayton Hoffman, not Alfonso Nixon, right? Hey, I was just joking, man. Come on. Chuckle, chuckle.
I laughed. Did you? But I definitely think that Nine's having some better runs on the long run. I mean, it seems like that's what his car's geared to. Because once he got by Kenny Powell, he started pulling away.
And I think once we get into that third stage, we are going to see a lot different race because some of these guys obviously set their cars up for the long run. You absolutely have to do that, especially if you don't think there's going to be a possibility of a caution. Because if you set your car up for the short run, just like last week we saw guys had their car set up for the short run, you might not get that speed that you need to be competitive all the way through this thing. As the 117 of Thomas O'Hara is definitely all over the back end of Danny the Rabbit Coho right now. And Owain Grossi is doing everything he can to put pressure on the 5 of Greg Wachinski because that is that last spot that's going to transfer over. And Grossi knows that the only way he's going to grab that valuable stage point is if he can find a way to get around the 5.
Yeah, for sure. And we found out, I think a couple times we've seen JC Nobrega, Lucas Abreu, Danilo, those guys kind of all racing. A lot of times they're on different setups. Like a lot of times on different teams, even though they're on a team, a lot of times they're still on somewhat of a different setup. And I think we're seeing that with this 22, not looking quite as strong right now as we're seeing from the 9 or the 12.
Yeah, that's what I always say too. I tell people, well, me and my team are on different setups. My setup's not as good as theirs. That's the reason why I'm back here. But, it is what it is.
Well, that's your fault you're not using. But, I mean, then again, it's all about, a lot of people do say it it's all about your preference. Some people are able to get the speed out of setups that other people's aren't.
Yeah, and speaking of that, looks like Grossi is starting to feel a little bit worn down there as he's got the 117 all over his back bumper. And I'm going to tell you, I don't know what's really going on there. He had a little bit of speed and pace, but now it seems that something is happening. He is actually one of the slowest cars on the track right now, Brian.
Yeah, he could have already burned his equipment up. I don't see any damage really on that machine, but looking at how slow he is and he's holding these guys up, he could see some damage here shortly if he doesn't get out of the way from these guys. And looks like he's going to go up the racetrack and allow Thomas O'Hara to get right by in that Sten Analyzer 117. What a job from Lucas Abreu. Now up into the top 5, 5th place. Those JC and Lucas got to be very happy with how this is going for them. Two of those that team in the top 5.
Yeah, absolutely. As we are 5 to go here in stage 2, it looks like the 92 is now going to be rolling on the back of the 43 of Paul Osen. That means Osen's also going to be in danger of going a lap down as well.
That he is here, and now it's going to be 5 laps to go here in this stage. And looking a little bit through the cockpit camera here, and then looking at lap times, these guys have already fallen off a second here. So, 28 laps into this stint, that's kind of what we're seeing here when it comes to the metrics on tire wear.
Oh! We had a car just plowed into the wall. Not sure exactly who that was. I think it was the 27 of Derek Jacobs. That is not going to work well on his complexion at all. As he's going to need a little bit of blush and concealer on that, I guarantee you.
Man, you scared me.
I scared me.
Derek Jacobs scared both of us.
Yeah, because nobody is wanting to see the caution come out here, buddy. That is exactly what we don't want.
Yeah, because if a caution came out at this point, that would end the stage, and that actually would actually extend that final stage somewhat.
Mark Sanchez is actually a little bit loose as well.
And as I said before, I mean, this is that unknown zone right now. These guys are in unknown territory. Sanchez was looking really strong in the shorter run, the mid-run, but looks like he's starting to really struggle here. Greg Wychinski's starting to put a lot of pressure on him. As now we're going to have, I do believe, soon to be 2 laps to go here in this stage. We'll be wrapping up stage 2. I'll tell you what, Big Al, these stages have flown right on by.
Absolutely, that is the truth, Brian. And because just like that, we're already got 65 laps in the books here, and that means I'm getting closer to the green flag pit stops, which means yippee yippee yay yay.
And it's so interesting, I think because you see how much tire wear is really making a difference here. I think that's going to really kick that pit strategy into high gear if we do go green for that final stage. I don't know. I mean, if I was a betting man, I would go a little bit later. I think you probably will be of the same mind. I've heard you say kind of something similar before in other races, where you go a little bit later. That way you have those newer tires, later in the race, and you can kind of go a little bit harder.
Yeah, I would have already pitted personally.
Oh, you're talking about the short pit, yeah.
Yeah, I would have definitely did the short pit to try to gain the track position. As Thomas O'Hara is actually going to get around Greg Wychinski, and that's going to put O'Hara up as he is going to try to gain that top 10 position there, which is going to give him yet another opportunity at another stage point.
Also, Josh Schaffner just made a pass there on Carl Dodson. Dodson looks really good in his short run, but he has been falling back through this pack. Now back sitting in 7th place. Going to be needing to make some type of adjustment there. Yellow flag is out, and that is going to conclude stage 2. Clayton Hoffman going to go back-to-back with stage victories. J.C. Nobrega going to be able to grab 2nd place here. Mark Pageant in 3rd. Matt DeCiani, 4th place. 5th place, Lucas Abreu. 6th place, Josh Schaffner. 7th place, Carl Dodson. 8th place, Kenny Powell. 9th place, Mark Sanchez. And rounding out our top 10, Thomas O'Hara.
Yeah, wow, what an exciting stage 2. But you know what? I am so ready for stage 3 to begin. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, is our stage caution stop start. Let's go ahead and take another step away because you know what? I love Cheerwine. Let's get another word from our sponsors here.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Clayton Hoffman able to win the race off of pit road once again against J.C. Nobrega. Definitely looks like Josh Schaffner got a position there. I know he had worked his way up to 6th place there before that caution came out. Now he's going to find himself in 5th. Schaffner's been looking really good. That 50 has been moving through this field slowly but surely, slow and steady. Not a surprise there from Schaffner. I mean, he's usually a very consistent driver. So would not be surprised to see him even work up even further. I have to wait and see, though. I don't know if anybody's got anything for Clayton Hoffman right now, but we have not seen the the really, really long run here. Of course, this is going to be when the race truly begins here, Big Al. Those stages were child's play. I'd say those were just glorifying practices. And right now, this is when it really is going to be for all the marbles. There's not going to be any stages to come out here and save you. The only caution that could happen is if it's based on an incident.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see when drivers are going to actually exercise their right to pit. Because with 66 laps on the tank, some drivers that actually might come down sooner.
Yeah, definitely could be the case. I would assume. I would think I would probably pit around 110, probably. I think that would be the number I'd probably look at. So we'll have to wait and see when these guys decide. Of course, I'm not a soothsayer. I don't know what they're thinking.
You're saying you would pit it with 40 laps in, is what you're saying, roughly.
Well, I mean, because that would leave you about 40 to go, too. So splitting it up a little bit. Maybe 115. Something maybe there.
And so, and the reason why I'm having this conversation with you as the lights are out on the pace car, this is exactly the strategy that these teams are having to come up with, as well as some of these independent drivers. You have to decide now if this thing does stay green. Am I going to come in early and short pit this thing? Am I going to try to stay out late and run that full 60 laps out and risk the speed degradation? Because these are a lot of options that you're going to have here. The pace car is going to be dropping off of the race surface, and Clayton Hoffman will take us back into that Geico restart zone, right?
Yep, and now we're going to have 81 laps to go, so definitely not going to be enough to make it the whole way. I don't know. I mean, short pitting could be a valid strategy, just considering we've seen how important track position is at this track. So if you're able to shortcut anybody, it could be well worth your while here. But Clayton Hoffman up to a great start here, and everybody pretty much single file there, getting it cleaned up fairly quickly, surprisingly.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are green, and that's exactly what we need to stay. As stage 3 is underway here, we are currently 71 laps into this segment of 151 laps. For those of you just joining us, you are watching the ISCA on the PMN. That's right, the iRacing Start Car Association ButtKicker Cup. This is the Cheerwine 151. Your hosts are Brian, Britt, and Al Nixon. Thank you guys for joining us. And if you like what you're seeing here, please like, follow, and subscribe. We're on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch.
Yeah, for sure. Just definitely give us a like, a subscribe, comment below. Cheer on your favorite driver, because you never know what they, going back and watching it, they might read your comment. Carl Dodson, though, really having to battle it out right now, as he finds himself right now on the edge of the top 10. Greg Wychinski putting a lot of pressure on him right now.
Yeah, not sure what happened with Dobson, because he had been running up in the top 5 for the majority of the night, but maybe he's just electing to kind of sit back and conserve, because a lot of drivers are going to have to do that, Brian. You might be fast for a short period of time, but the key here is going to be fast for the long haul.
Yeah, it definitely is, but you definitely don't want to find yourself a lap down either, because I think Clayton Hoffman has found a way to master both. He's like, I can be fast short run, and I can be fast long run.
Yeah, but it's going to be interesting to see how that 92 car does fare, because, as the 48 gets real close to the 7 of Grassi as they're going into the turn here, coming out of turn 3.
Grassi getting really kind of a little bit wiggly off the corner there, but he's able to get clear of Chris Johnson. Johnson been struggling here a little bit here. Not as quick as I would expect him to be here tonight, but definitely trying his best here. I know a lot of guys, I think we even talked to him last week, they weren't really looking forward to this track, to be honest with you. I know a lot of guys kind of voiced their displeasure with this track. He probably might have been one of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Not a lot of drivers are fond of this track because this is what we would consider, what do we call those drivers' tracks? This is definitely what we would consider a driver's track, Brian.
That it
Yeah,
is. And I'll tell you what, JC Nobrega has not been having a lot of pressure on him so far here tonight. Now he's starting to, though. Mark Pageant is putting it on him, trying to get up to there to second place. You see Matt DeCiani's also waiting there following.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we run into this thing a little bit longer, Brian, I would like for us to actually be able to do a ride along with a couple of cars. Maybe we could pick someone a little bit further back in the pack, like the 64 John Mullins, and then we'll ride along with Clayton Hoffman. Because I just want to see if these guys are shifting. You know what I mean? Are you running this thing in fourth gear? You running up the fifth gear, down the fourth gear? Because it's a lot of different combinations that are going to work on a track like New Hampshire.
I'm watching right now through the cockpit camera here of Mark Pageant. I do believe he is shifting. Yeah, you heard it. Yeah, he just shifted. Mark Pageant is shifting right now. So that is going to answer that question. You can see when it blips it down and the RPMs go up, that's when he's shifting. He is putting a lot of pressure on JC. And, man, that's one thing. I mean, I like these next-gen cars, but going to, drive them and having to shift them around these tracks, shifting is a whole nother variable that really complicates things here in these cars.
Yeah, especially when you're dealing with a car that has a 5-speed sequential transmission. But this car has a lot of differences than the Gen 6 car had, though, which makes it a lot more privy to racing on this rack appearance steering, independent rear suspension, that rear diffuser. I mean, NASCAR is really, the bigger 18-inch rims. NASCAR has really invested a lot of money in this car to make it turn at a short distance. And, that fifth speed, it does add a whole different dimension because some drivers honestly probably bought fourth gear setups to the racetrack.
Yeah, I do believe so. I think a lot of people probably did exactly that. So, and that's one thing about it. It leaves you a little bit more play in what you could do when it comes to that gear ratio. Kind of interesting. I mean, you're probably going to see guys that are running, doing that shifting like Pageant's doing, and it seems like it's really, really working for him. But you're also going to see, like you said, guys are going to have that gear ratio to where they only have to stay in fourth gear. So definitely complicates a little bit of things. I think that's more of an advanced setup that Mark Pageant's running right now.
Yeah, definitely. We're just going to be watching these guys, just seeing how everybody settles in. Because right now, that's exactly what's going on. Derek Jacobs is no longer in the back there, but Robert Pattengill's actually bringing up the rear of the field. And I think what we're going to see is some drivers are actually going to be conservative just because they're going to try to ride that out as long as they can, banking on the fact that there might be a late race caution, because as that tire wear and degradation does start to come into play, some drivers might wash up. We haven't seen anybody totally lose it here tonight, with the exception of Joseph Lester, and that is very, very uncharacteristic of this track.
Yeah, you're 100% right. I am shocked that we haven't seen more problems. We've seen guys have like little loose conditions, but they usually catch it. But yeah, I mean, Joseph Lester, I think, sent a message to everybody out there: don't do what I did, and I think everybody got that message and is adhering to that very much. I mean, we've seen everybody's been driving really clean too. I haven't seen really any dirty driving. I'd say really aggressive maneuvers, except for that 95 earlier today. Tell you what, Thomas O'Hare in that 117 has been looking really good. I mean, both stages he finished in 10th. Right now he's sitting in 8th, and he's starting to catch up here to Kenny Powell here. Carl Dodson, he's picked up a little bit of speed here. We saw he fell back, I do believe, under that caution flag pit stop. He's sitting up in 9th right now, and he's running some really quick times, running faster than I do believe everybody up to 5th place right now. Then again, I do believe that car seems to fall off on the longer run.
Yeah, I think the key is, though, it's not about being fast for a short period of time, but it's about consistently being fast for the duration of the run. And that is what these guys are trying to definitely dial in here. As we've seen a lot more conservative racing as we started Stage 3 than we did going into the first two stages. First two stages still relatively conservative, as nobody was really out there driving it hard into the corners. We have not seen that yet, but it's just making me wonder just how patient these guys are going to be. Are they just going to sit back and let Clayton Hoffman run this thing from the green flag to the checker flag, or is somebody actually going to come up with a way to actually battle him, whether it be through strategy or just racing?
Yeah, I don't think anybody's got anything pace-wise for him right now. I think Mark Pageant could have something maybe for Clayton because, I mean, but the thing is, he's being held up right now by J.C. Nobrega. Also, we're looking at Lucas Abreu. He's in 6th place. Of course, he was in 5th earlier. He's got a really good long-run car, it does appear, and he's starting to put a lot of pressure here on Josh Schaffner. So that could also be a point of contention here. And you talk about it's been really clean and green here so far, that everybody's been being patient. Well, eventually that patience is going to give, especially at short tracks. You sit there and follow behind someone enough and you think you're faster than them, eventually you're just not going to care anymore, and you might even touch them and put, maybe bump them up the track.
Well, we've seen that happen before, and I definitely do agree with you. It's going to come to a point in time where drivers are going to they're going to lose their patience because you're not going to. Right now, it's fine. Nobody's really worried about it. But once you come in and you get that last set of good years and you take that last round of Sunoco racing fuel, it just automatically then flips the switch, Brian.
That it does. Thomas O'Hara right on the back end here of Kenny Powell. Going to be a big battle going on here for 7th place.
Yeah, O'Hara's been running consistent all night with 2 top 10. He actually finished 10th in both stages so far. So it's good to see him actually running up into the 8th place position. That has definitely got to feel good for that team as well there, as he is running with the Triad Enterprises. So that's him and Carl Dobson, and also they've got Mark Paget on that team.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Jeffrey Souza not in the field here tonight. Usually, he's a big part of that Triad group.
Yeah, we actually saw Jeffrey Souza battling last night in the truck series out there at PMN. We were calling a race over there at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. That was pretty interesting as well as exciting.
Oh, yeah, that was definitely a very entertaining race. Tell you what, someone who's really entertaining and is probably going to be one of the bigger movers here tonight, Jason Baker. He just got around Wayne Grossi. Now finds himself in 11th place, and now is trying to chase down Greg Wyszynski. I talked about it earlier that Jason Baker was one of the fastest in practice. So it looks like he's starting to come. He looks like he's starting to move forward here.
Yeah, but good luck getting around Greg Wyszynski. I mean, yeah, we'll just have to sit back and watch how that one plays out, Brian.
Yeah, we've seen some craziness from Wyszynski, but usually he doesn't. He's not too difficult to deal with.
No, not at all. It's just teasing a little bit so that when he goes back and he watches this, he'll be like, man, what's Big Al talking about?
You think he comes back and watches this, man? We ain't important to him.
He sends me Christmas cards. What are you talking about?
Oh, okay.
Oh, you're not friends with him on Facebook?
No, definitely not.
Chris D. Johnson is now going to be making a move. He's going to be trying to come around Wayne Grossi. This battle right now is going on for 12th place. Johnson and Grossi definitely battled.
Oh, 3 wide.
That's something you don't ever want to hear in New Hampshire.
No, not at all. And somehow they're holding it. They're still 3 wide on the backstretch. This is a precarious situation right here. And it looks like Danilo, the Rabbit, going to be taking advantage here, and he's going to get clear of both of these drivers.
And look at how much Grossi washes up the racetrack as he is now going to try to get that drive off, and he is going to be trying to get to the inside. But see, Chris D. Johnson now is going to take that position. Here comes Grossi. He's going to try to push the 22 car out there where he was at, but the 22 is looking like he's actually going to be doing just fine with the drive off.
Yeah, looking really good there up on the top here, but I think Chris Johnson has a preferred line. Oh, contact! The 22 pinching the 48 down, and I think the 48 is really tight on the bottom, too. It doesn't seem like he's able to really get that drive off he needs.
Yeah, and everybody's just wanting these guys to simmer down, because if the caution were to come out, well, that would mean the drivers would have actually enough to make it to the end of this thing.
We were just talking about Jason Baker and Greg Wyszynski. Well, Jason Baker has made his way into the top 10, just past Greg Wyszynski. So he has been on the move here so far. Great job to him, as we are, I do believe, going to be 26 laps into this run. So I don't know. I mean, I think in the next maybe 15, maybe even at 20 laps, I think we could see some green flag pit stops start to take place. But then again, like you said, a caution could come out at any time. So, could we see some guys gamble just to try to stay out as long as possible to roll the dice that maybe a caution will come out and save you, and you can lock some guys a lap down.
Well, I'll tell you what, the two of Mark Paget is all over JC Nobrega, and I think that is probably going to be the best chance of a caution that you're going to get as he is driving right into him. Those two are making contact. Doesn't seem like they're going to stop beating and banging.
We talked about
Wow.
patience. I think Mark Paget's patience is running out. JC Nobrega definitely is making that car about five lanes wide right now, trying to keep Mark Paget from being able to make something happen. Luckily, Matt DeCiani, I do believe, cut that 0-2 a little bit of slack because he sees what he's having to deal with right now.
Yeah, but I think once Mark Paget, I said Matt because I was looking at Matt DeCiani, but I think once the 0-2 of Mark Paget makes it back up on that 12 of Nobrega, it's going to be a different story. I think we've been calling that a lot different the next time these two get in touch with each other.
Yeah, I think Mark Paget might be using that chrome horn, try to get up there. And you see Derek Jacobs, he's also a lap car that could come into play here.
Yeah,
looks like he's going to go to the top of the track and get out of the way.
He has been running into that wall so much tonight, trying to get out of the way that just can't be good for his confidence or his car.
No, not at all. But at least he's persistent. He's staying out there. He's determined. Gotta get hats off to him. Luckily, he hasn't caused any issues.
Yeah, absolutely. And Josh Schaffner now finds his way up into the top 5 as he is going to be tucked in behind Matt DeCiani. And these guys are just going to be, this is just going to be a play out now to see how this rolls in. We have 54 laps to go in this thing. And so I think at any given time, we're going to start to see drivers start to actually come down pit road.
I think what's going on here is we're seeing JC Nobrega. I mean, he's definitely got some speed, but he's holding up Mark Paget. And I think, and it's kind of causing a little bit of, I think it's going to start causing, a bottleneck here. As Matt DeCiani, he closes in a little bit here. Josh Schaffner closes in on DeCiani. So we could see these four here come together and could see things get really intense here. There goes Paget. I think he's about to turn him. He is getting so close to that back bumper. He's tired of having to deal with this guy because JC is he's not racing him very nicely, I'd say. He's not going to be getting any Christmas cars, that's for sure. Because every time Paget tries to make a move here, oh, there he goes. There's the bump.
There's that chrome horn we've been waiting on. And I think that's just a nudge to say, hey, bud, check it out. The next time, you're going to be looking backwards.
Yeah, I think this time it might be that case. He's going to keep on touching him there because JC just – I get what he's trying to do here, but, he's risking his own race. Oh, no.
Paget just risked his own race just to put the bumper to Nobrega. That right there, just a little bit out of sorts there. That's going to allow Matt DeCiani to actually capitalize and come on up into the third place. But that's what we're talking about. The patience is starting to wear thin. And now Josh Schaffner is going to be coming to the inside. But if you look at what has happened through all of this turmoil, Clayton Hoffman's still running away with this thing. He's already caught Robert Pattingill, put him a lap down. So the calamities behind him has just allowed him to just keep rolling on.
Yeah, I think Mark Paget right now is driving angry. That never ends well.
Oh, he is very angry, and I think, and you would be too, because he's been trying patiently to get around JC Nobrega for at least 10 laps, but there was no avail. Nobrega just not lifting, not letting him go by, and he's not obligated to. Racing is racing, but you just get so frustrated when you've got a faster car.
Yeah, you definitely do. And, I feel like, Paget's had opportunities to try to get below him and has taken those opportunities. But JC just pinches him down so much to where he can't do anything. And, it's just really frustrating. It's almost like beating your head against a brick wall trying to pass some of these guys out here. And that just really shows you how hard it is to pass at New Hampshire.
Yeah, we talked about that early on, when this whole thing started here. Now we got 49 laps to go. Driver's still out there beating and banging. The 43 of Paul Olsen finds himself down on pit road. Not sure if that's for damage or just for moral support. Might have stopped to get some ice cream.
Could have. And I definitely can get that frustration, though, because, I mean, J.C. Nobrega's last lap was a 31.759. Matt DeCiani, 31.6. You know, Josh Schaffner, 31.8. So, I mean, there's a lot of guys that are behind, you know, J.C. that are faster than him, and that just really, you know, brings that frustration on because, like, you know, he's not running that quick right now. Like, why does he feel like he has the right to race us like this? But, I mean, he does have that right, and, you know, and he's like acting like Ryan Newman right now, and that's how you keep positions. But here comes Schaffner on the inside of DeCiani, and he's also going to have problems here. I don't think DeCiani's just going to give this up either. You also see Pageant actually goes down pit road, Mark Pageant. So could be a good idea for him. I mean, if he was struggling so hard to get around J.C. Nobrega, maybe he could short pit him and get in front of him.
And I think that is his strategy. I think Paget's just now going to come out now and just going to run his race. And if he can make pace up on his own without actually having to battle that guy, you know, he might actually be able to get back up as Josh Schaffner now is going to be trying to get around Matt DeCiani. This battle right here is going to be for third place, actually.
That it is. Schaffner looks like he's going to get clear here. Josh Schaffner in that 50 machine looking really good.
Thomas O'Hara has made his way up to fifth place as he just passed the 9 of Lucas Abreu. And here comes the 2 of Mark Paget as he is now on fresh tires and definitely just trying to get his frustrations out of the way, I do believe.
Yeah, I'm hoping that J.C. Nobrega pits in the next couple laps because I tell you what, if Mark Paget catches up to him before that happens, we could see some problems out on this racetrack.
Yep, looks like green flag pit stops are underway with 45 laps to go. We got the 64 Mullins down. Also, the 31's down, the 9's down. 78's now down. So, yeah, this looks like drivers are trying to figure it out that they can make it with 44 laps. But you know what, though, Brian? That's about the halfway point for where they were at there. Everybody, that almost splits it down the middle. So that tells me that these guys were having ill handling cars, and they held on for as long as they could have.
Yeah, I would have went a little bit longer here. I mean, they're 40 laps into this stint right now. As you mentioned, probably about 44 laps to go here in the race. I would have waited a little bit longer to have it a little bit more of a, you know, closer to the halfway, or maybe even a little bit over. You know, maybe a 40 lap, or, you know, run to the end, or a 38 or something like that. But you know, you might be right. I think that maybe these guys were struggling hard. But if they were struggling hard enough they were forced to go down pit road and get these tires, that means it's not going to be better.
Thomas O'Hara down pit road. You know, and I'm looking at the lap times now. You know, Clayton Hoffman is, you know, he's 1.5 seconds slower than he was now. That is the fall off of the best driver that we got right now. So that should tell you about what's going on with that. But Clayton Hoffman's still going to continue to turn laps. Doesn't look like he's planning on coming down pit road anytime soon.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. As you do mention, he has lost a tremendous amount of pace, but that's to be expected.
Looks like Kenny Powell and Daniel Cahillo both coming down pit road as well.
So I do believe that makes the majority of the field here has pitted here. I do believe only the top 7 or 8 actually have yet to pit.
Schaffner pit road.
And Schaffner pitting here, that's a big call for the rest of these guys. I think that's going to make a lot of these guys decide to go down.
But see, here's where it gets crazy because now you got guys that are running different races. You know what I mean? And they're going to continue to run different races because we still got 41 laps to go. And so they're fast for a little while, but they're going to get slow again. And I don't know if anybody has any tires left.
Mark Paget's caught up here to Clayton Hoffman. I think he's about to unlap himself here. Well, no, I think everybody will have tires left. I mean, you got
another set of tires. Yep.
Yeah, because 4 sets into pits, so they've only pitted twice right now. The majority of the field actually already pitted 3 times.
3 times, right? Yep.
Here comes Paget taking his lap back.
And so the problem is when everybody's out there running at different speeds like that at this track, that's going to actually open it up for a greater chance of seeing that caution come out.
This is why Mark Paget did exactly what he did here. You see that, you know, J.C. Nobrega pitted at a different time than he did. Well, now Paget finds himself, I do believe, 4 seconds ahead of him. So that's a huge leapfrog. So, you know, you'd be surprised at how much, you know, pitting a couple laps ahead of a guy can really, you know, help you. But then again, you know, JC's going to be on newer tires later, but I don't think that's really going to matter very much, just considering the speed we saw from Pageant later in that run.
We had a little bit of a battle there going on for 17th place there. Al Koslowski and Andrew Grisbaum. Grisbaum actually got a little bit loose there and almost made contact with the wall as the 88 car of Al Koslowski is going to go ahead and take over that 18th position.
And here comes our leader, Clayton Hoffman. He's down pit road, pitting on lap 114 here.
Yep, with 38 laps to go, that's going to put him right where he's going to want to be in terms of finishing this thing strong because he has already demonstrated the pace that he needs to win this thing. He has led every lap thus far until he came down pit road. So I don't see anybody actually being in contention to go against him here tonight. But, you know, it is still quite a bit of ways to go here, Brian.
That it is. Mark Pageant is actually going to be able to get in front of Clayton Hoffman here. JC Nobrega is also able to do so, too, because Clayton Hoffman waited a little bit long there to pit, but he's going to have newer tires than these guys. But one thing about it, he has not found himself behind anybody here so far tonight, except for lap traffic. Those lap traffic probably got out of his way pretty easily. These guys here are not going to be moving over, so this could be the ultimate test here for Clayton Hoffman being in the dirty air. I know dirty air probably doesn't mean it a lot here at New Hampshire, but I know that being behind another car and having to have actually passed them is going to mean a whole heck of a lot.
Yeah, so the big thing here is going to be, I mean, this is what it's going to come down to. How patient is Clayton going to be coming through the field? Because right now, his spotter, his crew chief, they're telling him, Clayton, you've got to now put yourself in a position to win this thing. You've been there already. Stay patient. Get through the field. Let's don't risk anything, you know, because you know he's got a rocket ship. He has the car to beat as he is now rolling up onto the back of Nobrega, sorry.
And we saw how hard it was to pass Nobrega earlier. We'll have to see if it'll be that hard.
Yeah, Nobrega looks like he's trying to pinch Hoffman to the outside. You know, he's just not been one that's been easily to navigate here tonight. But Hoffman looks like he's going to do it with no problems. He's going to get quite a drive coming off that backstretch right there. And unless Nobrega drives it in there hard, I think, well, he's still holding in there, Brian.
He definitely is, but I think Clayton Hoffman's going to get a run on this exit here and probably going to allow him to get clear. And there he goes. Clayton Hoffman back up into, what technically would be second place.
Looks like the 42 car bobbled there a little bit around the start-finish line.
Caution is out.
That is not what anybody wanted to see. As Carl Dobson, who was actually in the lead, bops it. And that's going to bring out the second caution here under race pace here for tonight, Brian.
Yeah, he was on 50-lap old tires, and he had it saved. He had it saved. And man, Mark Sanchez. That is unfortunate. What was Carl doing there? He had it saved. He had it saved.
And Sanchez was actually having one of his better runs here tonight, man. And then just that incidental contact. I think that's going to cost him 8 minutes.
Man, I just, like, looking back at it, he looks like he had it saved. He got it back under control, was going straight again. But what happened? I mean, did he get back on the gas? I want to look through the cockpit camera here.
He was back, basically back on the gas. And you said those tires were 50 laps old. So they're going to spin, baby, spin.
Let's look back at this, see what his wheel inputs were here. Maybe we can see when he got back on the gas.
Right there, you can see he's already drifting it. I think right here is when he realizes it. He tries to overcorrect, breaks it, back in the gas, breaking it again. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's got a lot of incidentals there, too, so that is definitely going to cost him some time down pit road. But, hey, that is what I believe that nobody wanted to see, because now here's the deal. What are we doing? We got 32 laps to go. You've already got that data. You collected that data from the first and second stages, so you know exactly how fast your car is going to be on 30-lap old tires. So we see a lot of guys coming down pit road, and they're going to be changing those tires out. Fuel should not be an issue, as everybody should have actually been able to go. But I think right now what we're getting ready to see is it looks like the majority of the guys on pit road are taking 4 tires. We're getting ready to see a shootout here, Brian.
Yeah, we definitely are. Carl Dodson, I think he's done. I don't think he's going to be moving again because he's got. I think he's going to have 8 minutes required here because look at that tire on that left side. It is not attached to the axle. So I think that at this point in the race, 8 minutes required. His day's over.
Yeah, he might as well come on up in the booth and sit up here and talk to you and me.
Explain what happened. But
Yeah,
man, look at the jump here from Josh Schaffner. He jumps up all the way to second place here.
But Schaffner also elects not to come down and take tires. Now, Clayton Hoffman just coming off pit road, so he is definitely going to be ready to do his best work, but he has got a whole bunch of guys behind him that have been sitting here patient. Now, Hoffman has shown the pace the whole race. He has dominated this thing. I mean, like I said, the only person that's really hurt him is him. So I don't think he's going to come out here and slouch. I think he's going to get aggressive in that restart zone. He's going to put the hammer down, and he's going to be trying to get in that clean air and just go, baby, go. Now, the key is going to be what's going to happen behind him, because I think we could possibly see more cautions, because cautions breed cautions, right? And we're stacking everybody up again, putting them on the same playing field.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing I think we really got to keep in mind, I think the story of this caution here that's really changing things up quite a bit. Clayton Hoffman, he's on 7-lap old tires. Of course, he pitted pretty recently. Josh Schaffner, he's on 10-lap old tires. Matt DeCiani, 9-lap old tires. Kenny Powell, 11-lap old tires. Jason Baker, 7-lap. Everybody behind that is on fresh tires.
And all the way down through the top 17 are on the lead lap. So if that doesn't make for the best stew, I think this is what we call race stew for those of you just joined us. See, Big Al likes to put all these ingredients in the pot. And right now the ingredients are cars on fresh tires, 17 cars on the lead lap, 30 laps to go in the race. This right here, this is the ingredients for one of those super stews, Brian.
Might as well call this stage 4.
Yeah, that's exactly effectively is what it is. It is stage 4. I like that.
Pace car lights are out. We're getting ready to go back green here. We'll have to see what the launch here is going to be like for Clayton Hoffman on those 7-lap old tires. Of course, Schaffner's on a little bit older tires himself. I think my eyes are on Mark Padgett. He's on the freshest tires. He's had a lot of speed here so far tonight. I think he's going to be moving through the field quick.
Well, as the pace car gets ready to drop down, I think I want to see how well Schaffner does on that outside line for the restart, as Hoffman is going to take us into the restart zone. But I'm going to be watching to see if Josh Schaffner can actually capitalize from that position and give Clayton a run going into one. Clayton Hoffman wasting no time getting on the gas again, baby, as he is gone. He is now coming up high, and no one is going to be able to challenge him as he is running. But DeCiani drives it in hard. He's going to make contact with Schaffner. That's going to cause him to stack up the rest of the field. That's at 51 and the 24 side by side coming down the backstretch.
Yeah, there's almost some contact there between Kenny Powell and Matt DeCiani. Lucky it didn't come out there. But the 51 on the bottom looks like he's got the preferred groove. Of course, Jason Baker's on, I do believe, 9-lap tires. A little bit newer. But look at Padgett go. He's on fresh tires, and you could tell as he just turned a really quick lap up to now 5th place.
And I think we can all breathe a sigh of relief that Mark Padgett is past J.C. Nobrega. Because I'll tell you what, I think if he could have got close enough to him, we probably would have punched him in the mouth.
Well, you still could see that here. As he's going to be trying to get around Jason Baker.
It looks like the 7 gets into the 9. The 9 is actually able to pedal through it. Green flag racing continues. Not sure what happened there, but the 9 is going to lose a lot of positions. Lucas Abreu is actually going to drop all the way from 7th, and he is still dropping. He is back to 11th place now, Brian.
Yeah, we were 3 wide there for a moment. Everybody is really driving this thing hard. We were talking about earlier how you have to drive this track like you got an egg under the gas pedal. I think these guys are definitely cracking some eggs right now. Oh, there's the 31. He's around.
And the 9 gets into the 64 right there, and the caution is out as Mark Sanchez goes around and around. And I told you, that's just not going to work out for anybody. That's definitely not what the 92 Clayton Hoffman wanted to see, because he wanted to see that thing stay green so he could keep running. But unfortunately, it did not happen that way. It looks like Sanchez just got a little bit, 2 tires on the inside of that yellow line, and that was enough to just send him around. But ironically, we had looks like the 64 was making contact with anyway. It's just a lot of things going on the racetrack.
64 is on our screens right now. Let's see exactly what happened to him there. Yeah, a little bit of contact there with the 9. Some door banging. Luckily, it didn't look too bad. But yeah, that 31 of Mark Sanchez is going to bring the caution out. And of course, that even could be as a result of that damage that he received from Carl Dodson whenever he had his his spill.
Now Josh Schaffner now making a very controversial call as he is down on pit road. Like he will be taking his last set of Goodyear stickers. Kenny Powell also on pit road. Lots of drivers coming down pit road here, Brian.
Yeah, very interesting here. Looks like the top 12 though have stayed out. So they just sacrificed a ton of positions there, and it's gonna be a march, a challenge to try to get through this field.
Yeah, absolutely. As the 44 of Randy Drumhiller actually gets the lucky dog, and he will now be the 18 car that's on the lead lap as we get ready to start this 25 lap or this 23 lap shootout, Brian.
Yeah, definitely going to be interesting. Mark Padgett, because of those guys going down pit road, he's going to find himself in third place. I think that because of Clayton Hoffman having a little bit older tires here, Padgett has got a really good shot at maybe bringing home the dub here. I don't know. It's going to be scary here. I know that Clayton, he is not a slouch, even if he's on older tires. Usually, he still can hold on to him with the best of them. So we'll have to wait and see how this all plays out.
Well, I'm going to listen to what you're calling, and I do understand what you're saying, and you're telling all of our viewers here that your pick to win this thing is going to be the O2 on fresh tires behind the 92 of Clayton Hoffman now. And I think it's going to be interesting to see because it goes down a couple ways. The 2 is not afraid to use that bumper.
And that's key.
But first he's got to catch him, though. And I think if Hoffman takes off like he usually does, and the lights are still on the pace car, but if Hoffman gets the jump that he usually does, and he goes up low, and the 2 drives in low, I think that might be his best shot of trying to get a run on Hoffman. If he can't do that, I don't know if we're going to continue that conversation because he's got a lot of guys behind him now that are on fresher tires, and they're all going to be trying to fight their way through the fray to get up front as well.
Yeah, they will. I think Mark Padgett is probably the fastest out of all those guys that are on 8-lap old tires right now. Josh Schaffner, he pitted. He's actually the first guy that is actually on brand sticker new tires. He's back in 13th right now. Quite a ways back. There's a lot of cushion between these guys up here in front and back there. I have no doubts that Josh Schaffner and company are going to probably just work their way through the field, but because we have so many people on different tires, that makes the potential for another caution even greater.
Yeah, and I think we are in the caution season right now, if that is such a thing. I declared caution season. There it is. It is now. Lights are off on the pace car. He's going to be ducking back down. Clayton Hoffman will be leading the field into that Geico restart zone here shortly, and we will see if Matt DeCiani and company stacks up and these guys are actually going to try to get a run, or if they're just going to keep following Clayton's lead. Brian, it's on you.
I don't think anybody's going to be trying to follow his lead, but I don't think they're going to have a choice if Clayton has anything to say about it. He gets a good launch there on the green flag. Mark Padgett, not a bad start there. He's going to be able to get right up side by side with Matt DeCiani. I think he's going to have second pretty well in hand here.
Yeah, but I'm going to go back to that shotgun start that the 92
Caution's
had.
already back out.
Yeah, I did declare caution season. The 88 Speedway Angels of Al Koslowski looks like he finds himself the recipient of that banner here tonight.
See exactly what happened. I don't believe he had any contact with anybody here. I think he just lost it on the entry.
Did you see the start that Clayton Hoffman got, though?
Oh, yeah, it was incredible. But look at that, yeah. The 88 didn't have contact with the sole. So that's good at least. No one really got caught in that. He didn't even hit anything, so I think he just sent it in a little too hard.
Yeah, and that should put the 1-7 of Robert Pattengill being the recipient of that lucky dog, and that would put him back on the lead lap as well. And that will bring our lead lap count to 19. You believe that, Brian?
Yeah, I believe it. We've seen a little bit of cautions here late in this race. We've seen about everything, I say, tonight. We've seen green flag pit stops, and we've seen some cautions. But luckily, the wrecks we've seen have not been too crazy. Except for, I think that the craziest one we've probably seen had to be that maybe 95 of Joseph Lester and Carl Dodson and Mark Sanchez getting involved there. So, seen definitely about everything.
I think that's going to change here real soon. And the reason why I'm saying that's going to change is because this is that time in the race where drivers are going to start driving it in hard in the one. I mean, because right now, the only way you're going to be able to make the pass is through the corners. I mean, you're not going to get the drive off that you need to do a drag race and make that pass on the front of the backstretch. So you're going to have to capitalize and make that up during the corners as Robert Pattingale now passes the field. He is that lucky dog.
Yeah. And also, you know, these cautions that we've had here, they're going to do nothing but hype these guys up. You know, stress these guys out, intensify that frustration that might be sitting in their minds right now.
I'm not stressed out.
I mean, I know we're not. I'm saying they are. I'm sure because I mean, this is very much the definition of a rhythm track, and these cautions really break that rhythm up.
And one rhythm, too, that is going to break up. They're not going to have to deal with a lot of lap traffic because at this point, it's going to be pretty hard for Clayton Hoffman to actually lap anybody. So it's going to be a proverbial drag race in order for these guys to be able to catch him. That's what they're going to have to do first thing. And no one's been able to do that here tonight. So unless Clayton just does something that's way out of sorts of character, I think it's just going to be his to win or his to lose. And I think everybody else is just going to be, I mean, they're going to have to beat and bang each other up because you got to risk it for the biscuit, and it's go time.
Yeah, it definitely is. I think we're going to see the pace car lights go out this time by as we continue here with the Cheerwine 151. Definitely want to give a big shout out to ButtKicker for coming on board for this season. Definitely been a fantastic race thus far here tonight. Man, these guys definitely brought their A games, that's for sure. It has been a battle of titanic proportions, I'd say.
Yeah, they're definitely making New Hampshire an exciting track. But, you know, we knew it, and we talk about this all the time. You know, guys, you got to put yourself in a position to win. And you can't do that by doing, you know, pulling a Lester and getting taken out, you know, with 8 laps into
on lap
thing.
5, yeah.
But for everybody else that's still here, I mean, guess what? I mean, you still have a chance to get up to the broadcast booth tonight and have a one-on-one interview with either Big Al or Brian Britt. So that's what's up for grabs here.
They'd much rather talk to Big Al, I'm sure.
Yeah, lights are off on the pace car. We're getting ready to kick this thing green again. It's Clayton Hoffman, man. That last start, and I'm going to say it, I'm probably going to say it 5 more times because the launches that 92 has been getting, there no one else in the field even has any pace when it comes to when he takes off. He's already got, you know, 0.3 of a second lead before they even get to turn 1, Brian.
There's no way that's a Toyota.
There's no way that's a Toyota. That's got to be a Ford.
No, that's got to be a Chevy.
Green flag.
But there is the green flag, and then Clayton once again getting a really good restart there. Matt DeCiani's sleeping a little bit there. Mark Padgett able to get clear for second from on the top side. What a job from him. Look at Jason Baker. He's starting to work his way forward a little bit here, side by side, I do believe. Wow, look at Wayne Grossi. Talk about sending it in.
Yeah, he is sending it in, and he is sliding right up to J.C. Nobrega, and that probably won't end so well the next time if it does happen again. But he has also got the 9 of Lucas Abreu, who is going to be coming in there also. These guys are literally throwing these cars into those turns now, Brian.
Yeah, there is no give and take here right now. This is dog eat dog fighting right now. They are out for blood.
But way to go, Wayne Grossi, as he is now battling all the way up into the top 10. Right now holding in 6th place, soon to be pulling up onto the bumper of J.C. Nobrega. Just green flag racing continues as Josh Schaffner is side by side with John Mullins. He is trying to battle for what seems to be the 10th place. We got 2x2 going on here with 15 laps remaining in this shootout here, Brian.
Yeah, this is definitely the intensity has went up quite a bit here. Schaffner does look like he almost gets clear there of John Mullins, but not quite.
Yeah, these two are still going to be battling side by side. It's going to take Schaffner a little while to get by Mullins as he has got his G&G teammate, Kenny Powell, bringing up the rear, trying to push him through.
That's why I didn't really understand why those guys pitted because, like, you know, they're having so much problem dealing with those guys around them that, you know, this is. I don't think they're ever going to be able to get up closer to the lead. It's going to be a hard sell. I mean, it's going to be difficult to do, but it looks like Josh Schaffner does get by John Mullins here. Now he's going to try to work on Chris Johnson here. Chris Johnson was struggling quite a bit earlier in this race. Finds himself sitting in 9th place, so not a bad recovery from him as we see the 9 side by side with Wayne Grossi here.
Yeah, and the 9 is side by side with Grossi. He's going to try to be on the inside, pushing Grossi high. Grossi is doing everything that he can, waiting on that grip to kick in. Looks like the 9 got it first, and he is going to drive on by to solidify that position.
Yeah, that he did.
Here comes Thomas O'Hara. He is on the inside of the 7 now, trying to do the same as well as he got Chris D. Johnson. Johnson's going to check up just a little bit. That's going to cost a 5-0 of Schaffner and a 2-4 Powell to do just the same. As they're getting ready to come down into 1, looks like Chris Johnson is in the 48 is going to try to get the best of the 7. Ooh, he slides up just a little bit. Almost made contact, but still clear. Now they're going to be driving off. Johnson's still going to be battling, trying to get on the inside of Grossi. Got his G&G teammates stacked up as Schaffner's along the outside and Kenny Powell's to the rear.
Yeah, Wayne Grossi trying to hold on to that position with all, every hand he can to try to see if he can't keep that, get those points. That's Josh Schaffner also trying to hang on. He got really close to the walnut last time by. These guys are getting really checked up back here.
Yeah, how cool would that be if Grossi was actually able to solidify a top 10 position as Schaffner gets a little bit loose there, makes incidental contact with that outside wall. Greg Wachinski's now going to be driving on the inside of the 5-0, the 50 of Schaffner, however you like to call it. I call it 5-0.
What a great race, I got to say, from Jason Baker. We talked about him being faster, one of the faster guys in practice. He started this race way in the back. I think he started in 17th, 18th, or 19th, somewhere back there. Now he's in 4th place right now, and he's holding on to it strong. I don't think anybody's going to be able to take that away from him right now.
Yeah, that's definitely got to feel pretty good for that camp because they're going to get a big old plate of biscuits as the 48 of Chris D. Johnson going to get real loose there. He's going to make contact with the outside wall as he has Schaffner and Powell along the inside.
It looks like Powell was able to get around Schaffner there. Surprised to see that. Definitely looking good in that 24 machine as he's going to try to see if he can't take his chances here on Grossi.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Brian, this is that point of the race as we are less than 10 to go where, like I said, it is go time, baby.
It is very much go time. Everybody is really trying their best just to hold on to these positions and try to make up as many as they can also at the same time. But Clayton Hoffman, even though he is on older tires than Mark Pageant, he has managed to pull away from him. Right now, 7/10 is the lead.
7/10 is the lead. 8 laps to go. It will be 7 at the line this time. Way to go, Clayton Hoffman, putting on a clinic here tonight as he has led essentially every lap from the wave of the green flag. There's nobody standing in between them. And if we can keep this thing clean and green here to the end, I think it's just going to be a clinic of Clayton Hoffman here tonight, Brian.
What else is new? We've seen it time and time before. I mean, it is not any surprise to see him do this well. Man, he has definitely put on a master class out here on this racetrack.
As the 24 of Powell is going to best the 7 of Grossi, that means that's going to put Kenny Powell up into 8th place, and Josh Schaffner also going to get by Wayne Grossi there. He's going to make that move on the inside. Grossi not wanting to let it go, though, so he's going to drive it hard on the inside. Slips up just a little bit because he still has the 48 of Christy Johnson, the 22 of Daniel Colo, and the 5 of Greg Wachinski to contend with as he is in danger of losing his top 10 position.
Al Kozlowski just had a big moment, yeah.
Yeah, looks like Al Kozlowski out of sorts again. No caution, though, as green flag still continues.
Fighting right now for 4th place. We see Jason Baker and J.C. Nobrega. Looks like he might. I think he's going to take it away from him. Yep, Jason Baker back down to 5th place. Definitely been a great race for a lot of drivers out here. A lot of drivers should be proud of their performances here tonight. Thomas O'Hara, definitely one that comes to mind.
Hey, how about this? Everybody that's in the top 10, congratulations. Everybody that finished this thing, congratulations. You know what I mean? Because this was a challenging racetrack. This is not a fun track to race even. I mean, a lot of times.
I think it's fun.
This is more like work. Oh, but that's you. I mean, look, I told you need a new shrink. This race is work.
Yeah. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna need to get your shrink.
No, nope. And that's a HIPAA violation. As Chris Johnson trying to do everything he can to get around the 7 of Grassi. If Grassi can hold these, if he can hold off Daniel the Rabbit and Chris Johnson, he will get a 10th place finish, and that's gonna be a lot better than he did last week.
Oh, the 22 loses it.
Goes loose. That is going to bring out a caution. That is what nobody wanted. That's right, ladies.
Oh my gosh.
That's going to be a green-white caution, a green-white checker. That's what that's going to equal, Brian.
Oh my goodness. And looking at this, Clayton Hoffman still has a set of tires left. Matt DeCiani has a set left. Jason Baker has a set. I do believe
pit.
Wayne Grassi. I don't think anybody's going to pit here, but that could be a Hail Mary call we see for some guys.
You don't pit. It's a green-white checker. There's no reason to pit here. You bite the bullet and you keep going forward. That's all I think you can do at this point.
100%. Well, let's take a quick step away, rest our voices a little bit here while we prepare ourselves for this exciting green-white checkered and conclusion to this event.
ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing. Get yours today at thebuttkicker.com and be sure to use our 20% discount promo code ISCA20.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, as we just saw, if you're just joining us, we are going to be having a green-white checkered here tonight in the Cheerwine 151. And what a race it has been. I mean, I'll tell you what, this stage here, I've been on the edge of my seat the entire time.
It's been something, Brian. It's definitely been exciting. It's been frustrating. It's been interesting. The frustrations, definitely, I say those are the majority on the racetrack, though, especially if we've seen drivers just battling with each other. Nowhere to go. It's just a tough track to pass. And here we are here getting ready to go green just for the green-white checker. Only one. This is the only green-white checker we have here tonight. And I think it's just going to be a smash fest.
Oh, yeah. I mean, all the frustrations that have been building up during this entire race are getting ready to collectively kind of relieve themselves.
The season that we've had an exciting season.
That we have. I will say that this season so far has probably been one of the most exciting seasons we've seen. I mean, the races, I mean, I know that Chicagoland race was one of the most exciting races I've seen in quite a long time. A lot of the races we've seen here this season have just, probably top 10 most exciting races.
Yeah, absolutely. And we get that. You're going to get the most top-notch racing if you are watching the ISCA. The iRacing Stock Car Association is definitely probably the pinnacle of what we would consider iRacing as far as leagues go.
Oh, yeah, definitely a very high level of competition here. We see the pace car lights are out. We're getting ready to go back green here for our green-white checkered. Of course, like Big Al says, there's only one green-white checkered, so whatever happens, that next flag will end it. We'll have to see if we're able to finish this thing under green, and hopefully, I know for Clayton Hoffman's sake, he's going to be out in front, but I think Mark Padgett is probably going to try to have something to say about that.
Hayden got him again on the jump. Same lead as he's had pretty much all night going into one. Paget comes down. It'll be interesting to see how this stacks up. Looks like everybody's still playing nice. The 117 gets a little bit loose. He's going to come down on the back of Powell. Oh, the 7 makes contact with Josh Schaffner. That's going to cause the 5 of Greg Wachinski to actually slide to the outside. Greg Wachinski makes contact with the 7 of Grassi again.
See Kenny Powell taking him 3 wide with Jason Baker in the middle here. Oh, contact there.
Powell's going to have to get it straight if he's going to want any chance of finishing in the top 10. He is driving up into Jason Baker. They make contact. Baker in the 51 keeps it straight. The 117 of Thomas O'Hara is coming up the rear. He's going to make contact with the 51 of Baker.
And here we go, entering 3 and 4, Clayton Hoffman. Going to be exiting turn 4 onto the front stretch, and he is going to be your winner here tonight for the Cheerwine 151. He has utterly dominated this race here. Mark Paget's going to finish in 2nd place. 3rd place is going to belong to Matt DeCiani. 4th place is going to be J.C. Nobrega. 5th place, Lucas Abreu. 6th place, Kenny Powell. 7th place, Jason Baker. 8th place, Thomas O'Hara. 9th place, Josh Schaffner. 10th place, Wayne Grassi.
That's going to put Greg Wachinski in 11th, Chris D. Johnson 12th, Andrew Griesbaum in 13th, John Mullins 14th, Randy Drumhiller 15th, Al Koslowski in 16th, Daniel Colho, the Rabbit, in 17th, Mark Sanchez in 18th, Robert Pattengill 19th, Derek Jacobs going to be in 20th, 2 laps down. Carl Dobson, 35 laps down in 21st. Paul Ocean, 56 laps down in 22nd. Austin Story is going to be some 109 laps down in 23rd. And Joseph Lester rounds out the 24-car field at 151 laps down. And oh my God, what a race.
Yeah, that was a very exciting green-white checker. Luckily, we were able to finish this thing under green. I would feel like the fans got robbed if we weren't able to, but we were able to. Let's see, do we have everybody available, or do we need to take a quick commercial break to get everybody rounded up here, Big Al?
Nope, just give me 2 seconds, and I'll bring everybody up.
All righty. Well, while he's doing that, I want to give a big shout-out to everybody out there that watched here tonight. Hopefully you enjoyed this show as we were able to watch the 92 dominate another race. That actually makes 6 wins on the Super Cup Series season for him. So definitely going to be – he's a step above the rest right now. I do believe the next closest guy has, I do believe, 3 wins, I do believe, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, Clayton Hoffman definitely has been having a really, really great season so far. Really, I think he's going to be the championship favorite going into the end of this season. Still a long way to go. A lot could happen. We could see some guys, start to grow and maybe even get a good string of wins. So you never know. Just considering how we've been seeing Josie Nobrega, Lucas Abreu, those guys have been kind of showing up on the scene and really been putting a lot together here.
Yeah, it looks like we've got Mark Paget and Matt DeCiani standing by.
All righty, glad to have them here in the booth. Matt DeCiani, our 3rd place finisher. You definitely had yourself a good car here tonight. To walk us through a little bit about what was so difficult about this track. It seemed like it was really difficult to pass.
Yeah, it is a hard track to pass. I mean, it's kind of like a 1.5 groove track for the most part, and it's really hard to pass guys if they're close on speed. Within a tenth or two, it's really hard to get around them if they don't make a mistake. But yeah, it's just a difficult track to pass at.
It definitely did seem like it. I mean, what were some of the strategies to try to make that pass happen? Like, what could you do?
Yeah, mainly, at least, everyone drives this track differently, and there's multiple ways to drive it. But for me, mainly just rolling the center and trying to get the drive off to get, side by side, and then, outbrake them getting into the next corner. Really, for me, that was the only way I could pass anyone today.
Well, it definitely seemed it seemed like you were battling more with your teammate more than anybody out there. I mean, still looked really good. Are you glad to see New Hampshire kind of in the books here and move on to the next one? Because I know definitely was a tough track tonight.
Yeah, I mean, we only come here once a year, so it's a nice change up. It's a lot of work at this track, but yeah, I mean, like I said, if a car gets on your outside, it's just they could really hold you out, hold you down because you can't roll the center. You kind of got to pinch it without sliding up into them. But yeah, it's definitely difficult here. Then I kind of got in a weird situation there, and that when that caution came out, I had like 7 laps of my tires. I didn't want to burn that last set. And then we kept getting those yellows, and everyone had pitted already. So I kind of made my bed, and it was like, if I pit, I was going to lose all that track position. So I just took a risk, and yeah, luckily it paid off.
It definitely seemed like it 100% did pay off. Definitely it was definitely interesting to watch you guys out here on this racetrack. I was kind of trying to look at the schedule here, see where we're going next week. Isn't it Pocono, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah.
I think you're
Okay,
correct. Yeah.
Pocono. Okay, I was about to say, I was like, it was out of left field. I do apologize, ladies and gentlemen. I was looking for the schedule, but I couldn't find it fast enough. You answered my questions too fast. Like, but definitely. How are you feeling about Pocono? I mean, I know that some people love Pocono, some people hate it. What are your feelings about it?
I typically like it because I mean I feel like we're gonna be shifting, and it kind of drives a little bit like a road course, heavy braking. But then again, it's a flat track, So I don't know. I haven't driven it in this next gen car, and if it was good in the Gen 6, doesn't mean I'll be good with this next gen there. But it'll be a different, another. We got a bunch of unique tracks in this season, so it'll definitely be a unique challenge next week.
Well, we definitely look forward to seeing what you can do out there. And I know it's kind of a team track too. You know, you could find yourself relying on some of your teammates out there to help you push you along. Hopefully, you guys are going to practice and do get that worked out for sure. But we definitely appreciate your time, man. Great job on that third place finish. Another podium on the season. Nothing wrong with that. Going to be definitely some good points for you. I know you're already pretty high up in the point standings. So look forward to seeing what you can do here in the future. Who can we shout out after that third place finish?
Yeah, thanks to you, Brian, and Big Al for doing the broadcast. Shout out to Clayton. He's just ridiculously fast every time, and yeah, definitely got to figure out something to even try to compete with him. Mark had a great car as well too. I probably finished where I should have, maybe one position back, but yeah, I mean, then just shout out to EPI. I had to work on my setup a little bit this week to get it, but they gave me a great baseline to work off of this week.
Well, yeah, definitely looked really good for sure, man. Well, thanks for your time, and we'll look forward to seeing you at Pocono.
Thanks, guys.
That was Matt DeCiani, our third place finisher. Next up, I think the gal's waiting here with Mark Pageant, our second place finisher.
Hey, Mark Paget, Big Al up in the booth. You got me?
I got you.
Hey man, what a performance! You brought a hot rod in here tonight. I mean, you definitely if it weren't for Clayton Hoffman, I think you definitely would have won this thing hands down, man. So, how much practice did you put into this track this week?
A fair amount of practice. We ran a lot over the weekend. I ran races Monday and Tuesday, so fair amount of practice. I took last night off just to get a breather, but hundreds of laps for sure.
Yeah. So were you shifting or were you not shifting? And how long did it take you to kind of come up with that concept? I guess the one more direct question would be: did you have a fourth gear car or a fifth gear car?
So we had a fifth gear car, and I was not shifting. I know some people were. I heard them out there on the track, uh, but no, the way we had our gearing and our setup, I could really carry a lot of speed in the center of the corner anyway. Um, you guys probably saw that on the broadcast. I was I was actually bumping people mid corner. But anyway, I carried enough speed where I didn't have to shift, so I just stayed in fifth the whole time.
That's interesting. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Big Al, but that's really interesting because we watched through your cockpit camera, and I swore you were shifting.
No, I wasn't. It might have been that thing where if RPMs get low enough, the sound goes up. But
That
no, I
must have been
wasn't
it because
shifting.
it looked like you were shifting. I'm sorry, Big Al. Back to you.
Well, thank you, Brian. Uh, so next question. Looks like you got a little bit frustrated out there because it appeared that it was just a really, really hard track to pass on. You want to comment about any of that?
Not frustrated. I mean, I was cool the whole time. I did try to move JC there after he held me up for about 30 laps, but yeah, that didn't work. I bumped him, and I was the one that got loose, and Matt and Josh got by me. But it was okay. I had, I thought, really good pit strategy because after that happened and I knew I couldn't get by him, I pitted early. Came out 4 seconds ahead of JC and Clayton, and it would have been interesting because I had a really good long run car to see if Clayton could have run me back down. But yeah, I mean, overall, good car, solid finish. Clayton was definitely faster than me. I would have had to have some luck or some strategy to beat him. So the right car won for sure.
Yeah, interesting to note that we did actually see you do the short pit strategy, and that would have worked out had there not been, one caution less. But nonetheless, though, still, you definitely had a rocket ship out there tonight, man. And going into Pocono next week, no, you can't really transfer anything over from this track to that track, but with the momentum of a second place finish, though, that's got to make you feel pretty good going into next week, right?
Yeah, and I like weird tracks like this. Gateway was a win this year. Pocono is right there. I like these flat, strange, not cookie cutter tracks. So I'm looking forward to Pocono next week.
Well, good deal, Ed. I mean, and we're looking forward to seeing you. And congratulations once again on that second place finish. Before we let you go, though, who are you going to be shouting out to tonight?
Yeah, team gave me a great set to work with. Thanks to our setup builders, thanks to our sponsors, Stand Analyzer, SRG, Caterpillar, uh, and Trust Me Vodka. Wouldn't be possible. The practice servers wouldn't be possible without them. So definitely a team effort. Lots of laps went into this before I even touched it. So definitely a team effort. Thanks to Triad.
Man, and congratulations to Triad Enterprises as well. Looking forward to seeing you guys next week at Pocono. Congratulations on a strong finish, sir. And you have a great evening.
Thanks, Al.
That was Mark Pageant, our second place finisher, and definitely looked like he might have had something there for Clayton Hoffman, but I don't know anybody that could really match him on those restarts tonight. We were talking about it all night long. Every restart we had, Clayton would just pull away like I don't know. I don't. Was that a
Rocket
Toyota? I
ship.
don't. I don't think that was a Toyota. I think that you might have had something under the hood, a Hemi or something, because that thing was
Well, no,
quick.
it's like you were driving an electric car when you were taking off.
Definitely was very very fast, Clayton. It seems like have you put in a lot of practice time here in New Hampshire? You seem like you got this place figured out. Like I didn't see any bobble, not a mistake on you tonight.
Yeah, put in quite a few laps. Ran quite a few races here. Had a good time for the most part. I just worked on it. I think last Saturday for a couple hours. Vicente made a couple runs, made a couple changes, and then I did a couple final adjustments, and I kind of just hit on a really kind of I don't know what you call it, just like a perfect type of balance to where all I got to do is keep the right rear on the car and it just keeps going and going. Um, it's really fast on the short run and it doesn't die off on the long run as long as I take care of it. So yeah, you need to shout out him, uh, Vicente, Dave. Uh, we just like I said worked on it for a little bit and it just kind of just happened pretty quick.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like you had a good piece here. Yeah, were you worried a little bit? I know. Once that caution kind of came out and kind of spoiled the fun after the green flag pit stops, that was the first time you were really behind anybody. Were you a little concerned there? I mean, you seemed like your car didn't have any too much problems with it, but did you have any concerns there?
Not really. I just had such fresher tires. I just knew if, as long as I took care of my tires, I was gonna get up there no problem. The way the pit cycle was working, I think halfway was right around 110, and there was a lot of guys short pitting, and I just don't believe that's something that could work here. I think you got to cut it right in the middle or go 2 to 3 laps over.
Well, I'm glad I was right because I sure did say 110 when I was in the broadcast. So thank you, Clayton. Big Al, I am right. So that tells you something. But great job there, Clayton. This actually makes your sixth win on the Super Cup, season here. I mean, you think you're maybe going to be able to go for seven here when we go to Pocono next week?
For sure. Yeah, I think Pocono will be a good track. It's going to come down to who can go the fastest in the draft or in the pack and save the most tires. I think the way that the track works, it's all about how much speed you can carry through the corner with the most drive off to set up your straightaways. And if you can set up the straightaways, you can get that side draft, get the inside position into the next corner, and then just take advantage from there.
Yeah, we haven't seen a whole lot of racing there at Pocono in this next gen car. I mean, have you already had some time to maybe turn some laps with maybe some teammates or something?
Yeah, we've done a couple pack tests. It's definitely something to where if you have a teammate pushing you and helping you, you can definitely hang someone out to dry. But at the same time, the side draft is still really, really powerful. So uh, it's going to come down to, like I said, drive off, who can make the move and get past, and then clear the person in the or in the pack. It's going to be pretty tight. In the Gen 6 car, it was easier to make it through the tunnel turn too wide than it is in this car, just because of how this car drives and this car being a little bit wider. So it'll be interesting. There's probably a bunch of wall bangs throughout the race.
And you definitely don't want to do that with the way this new damage model is playing out. You end up having a wheel that's not connected to the axle there. But we definitely loved watching you here tonight. You definitely put on quite a show. No one was even able to really even get close to you, especially on the long run. Great job to you. Congratulations on your win. I know you kind of already shouted out a couple guys there earlier. Anybody else we could shout out for you tonight?
Shout out all the sponsors of Legacy Esports. We got Reaper Speed Labs, Green Mountain Grills, Blackstone Management, Champion. There's just a lot of support for us. Thanks to you guys for broadcasting. Thanks to Cheerwine for sponsoring the race, and ButtKicker for sponsoring the series, and Kenny for continuing to put on the league. This is the first league I've ever joined, so I think this is my second year in here. So just gonna keep on racing on. I really always enjoy coming in here on Thursday nights when I don't have to miss for whatever reason.
Well, definitely. Congratulations once again, man. We always appreciate your time, and we don't ever want to see a day when we don't see Clayton Hoffman in here in the ISCA. Of course, we do see him those days every now and again, but we always love it when you come back and come see us. And thanks for your time there, Clayton.
Thank you guys.
That was Clayton Hoffman, tonight's winner here for the Cheerwine 151, and what a race it was, Big Al. I mean, it was excitement, I do believe, from start to finish. I mean, the first two stages went by fairly quickly. Weren't really that dramatic, except for, of course, that first caution in the first stage. But in stage 3 was a little bit different story. We saw about everything in that stage. We saw even green flag pit stops, and we saw some cautions.
And then stage 4 was probably the most exciting of them all.
That's
So
right.
that's the way it worked out. Yeah. So it was, and everybody did exactly what they needed to do, Brian. They needed to be patient. They needed to be available at the end of it. And I think by having 19 cars actually finish on a lead lap, we demonstrated that the drivers were just that. So thanks to the sponsors once again, to ButtKicker and Cheerwine, and thank you for being an awesome assistant.
Hopefully the coffee was not cold this time, but I definitely put you a couple creams in there just like you like. And but with that, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate everybody out there watching. As we said before, make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, or I'm sorry, Twitch. But with that, I think that draws us to the conclusion of tonight's event. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you, I do believe, on Saturday, same time. 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The broadcast is probably going live around 9:10, 9:15 while we get everything set up, and then we'll be probably going green around 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure you tune in around there, and we'll see some more exciting racing here at New Hampshire for the Tucson Sound Art Cup and Super Cup Series. Thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you next time.